Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back. It's that time of the week again. Yes, yes, yes. You are welcome to This is Therapy 20 minutes in the mind of a Nigerian. Of course, as always, we are so excited that you are here. Just in case you don't remember why you are here, it's because this is a space for honest conversations about our inner lives, the thoughts we carry, the emotions we manage, and the pressures that we often don't talk about. So, every episode that you join us for is essentially an opportunity for you to pause, take a chance to just slow down, think deeply, reflect, and gently explore what's happening beneath the surface of your life as a Nigerian. And in case you're not Nigerian, gives you a sense of what's happening in the life of an average Nigerian. Please don't forget that this is not advice, this is not a diagnosis, and everything that we discuss about has nothing to do with having your life figured out. We're just trying to raise awareness, bring a bit of context, and hopefully make this a space where you are given the opportunity to feel. So let's jump right into this episode today. You have probably seen, in fact, if you have not seen the social media post that I'm about to talk about, is because you don't follow us on Instagram or TikTok or wherever or YouTube, and that's a problem. So you need to go follow us. But yes, we recently put up a post, and it essentially is just a diagram of how when your car has a problem, you go straight to the mechanic. When you have a medical condition, you go straight to the doctor. When you're having any difficulty, you seem to know exactly where to go. But somehow, when it comes to mental health, we first try friends and family, then we try church, and then we probably try ChatGPT, then we probably allow ourselves to crash out, and then we eventually think, maybe I should get therapy. And the craziest thing is that some people will still decide to rinse and repeat and start that whole process again instead of going for therapy. Or they have like one initial conversation with a therapist and then they decide, you know what, I'm just going to wing this by myself. I'll find a way around it. I'll figure something out. I'll rough it, as we like to say in Nigeria. And so today we're going to be talking about why we avoid therapy until things are falling apart. And in some cases, why we avoid therapy even when things are falling apart. From my passion, you can tell that this is a subject that really touches me because I can't for the life of me. Well, I guess I can, but I can't for the life of me understand why in 2026 we still do not want to consider getting therapy. So, let's talk about it. Um at what point do you decide, maybe I should talk to someone? At what point do you decide, okay, you know what? I think I probably need to see a therapist. I should actually have a conversation with someone at this point. Before we jump right into that conversation, I think the first thing I want us to do is look at what are some of the reasons why we usually would not go for therapy in the first place. What are those reasons that make us say, you know what, I'm going to rough it. I'll figure something out myself. So, number one, we tend to think that it's not that bad. And essentially, that's just us minimizing our struggles. So, one of the key reasons why we avoid therapy is because we like to believe that it's not that bad. I think, again, as Nigerians, we have a thing where we like to compare suffering. And so, someone might say to themselves, well, James from across the street, his own wife got hit by a car and then they got chased out of the house. They lost all their money in a bad investment, and yet he's doing just fine. He didn't need to go for therapy. And so you're like, well, me that just feels sad when I wake up, how can I go for therapy? Right? That's one of the under the it's not that bad movement. There's the other people have it worse than me. Then there's the notion where we're just like, it will get better. It's just a phase. It will pass. Sometimes this is true, but most of the time it is not. And even in the cases where it is true, it is always helpful to actually have a conversation with a professional that helps you to put things into perspective. So think about it like a flu. if you have a flu, yes, drinking orange juice and laying in bed will eventually get you better, but you can take medication that would make the process faster. And so that's kind of what therapy is. Instead of you having to be stuck, instead of you having to figure things out all by yourself, instead of you struggling all alone and consistently trying to figure it out by yourself and not even being sure if what you're feeling is valid or not, why not go and talk to someone that can tell you, oh, yes, your feeling is valid, and this is what you can do to navigate this? The truth of the matter is that therapy is not about worst case scenarios. Therapy is not the same thing as psychiatric intervention, right? And I think a lot of people kind of just mix up the two. So you have it in your mind somewhere that, oh, you're going to see a shrink and things must be really bad. Everybody's going to think you've lost your mind and you're crazy. And that is far from the truth. So that's one of the main things. We tend to believe that other people have it worse or will be just fine or it's really not that bad. Number two, the fear of facing ourselves. Yeah, this is a big one. The truth of the matter is that we know that there are parts of ourselves that we probably don't really want to deal with, right? Self awareness requires that you confront every aspect of who you are, the good, the bad, the ugly. And for many of us, we know that there are certain things that therapy would bring out, and we're not willing to explore that. Or maybe we're just afraid of the possibility of what we will discover when we go through therapy. I'm not even going to lie to you, it can be very uncomfortable. I've had sessions with clients where after the session, they were just like, yeah, I don't know how I feel right now. I don't know how to act. And the truth of the matter is that you cannot go through life avoiding uncomfortable situations. You can't go through life avoiding those aspects of your life that you are currently ignoring. Because the truth of the matter is that whatever you ignore is just going to be ignored up until the time that it shows up. And a lot of the times when it does show up, it shows up in ways that are way beyond what you could even have imagined. And unfortunately, for many people, all they needed to have done was taking a little bit of time to just explore it before things got chaotic. Think about it like this. Imagine someone refusing to go for medical checks on an annual basis. So you've never gone for a medical check at any point in your life, and then one day they bring a diagnosis that just completely shatters you. And then they say, oh, but if you had come for a medical check 3 years ago, we would have detected it before it got this bad. That can be a very devastating feeling, and it applies exactly the same way in therapy. Many times we don't want to process difficult emotions, and so we would rather just suppress them and keep going. There's another category of people, those are the ones who don't even know that they have emotions that need to be processed. And I think I'm trying to decide which is worse, the denial or the ignorance altogether. Both are really dangerous, but I think it's even worse when you don't even know, right? And so you hear people saying things like, "Oh, no, 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 I'm just fine. I'm doing very well. No, I'm totally over that. Yes, I'm fine with it. I've moved on. It doesn't bother me." But the truth of the matter is, it does bother you, right? And it's helpful for you to be able to get a better picture of yourself through therapy before things get to the point where you're now forced to have to go for therapy. There are many people that could have avoided certain addictions, but because they didn't go to a therapist and discover themselves and their propensity toward the addiction, things escalated, and then they're now at the point where they have to be dealt with as high risk cases. So, this is the part where I pause and ask you to think about yourself for a minute. Yes, even if you can't think of anything right now, that's the job of a therapist. They are professionals. And so I say they like I'm not one. Okay, we are professionals who are able to ask you questions that would make you think and explore aspects of your life that you otherwise may not necessarily explore. Or Another thing that we do is that we help you see connections that you may not have seen in your daily life. There are questions that your therapist will ask you that would cause you to pause and think and be like, I've never looked at it that way before, but now I can see how that has influenced me. I'll give you an example. Procrastination. Many of us think that we procrastinate just because we're lazy or unmotivated. But the truth of the matter is that for many people, procrastination is actually used as a means to hide anxiety, fear of failure, fear of the unknown. And so, what we do is we keep on pushing things away so that we don't have to deal with the possibility of it not going well. You might not have known that. Now you do. Sign up for therapy. Number three, the one that we always blame, culture and social stigma. This is a big one. This is a very, very big one. I've heard of situations where people have grown up and decided that they want to go back and have conversations with their parents and be like, oh, this is how this thing that you did has influenced me, and this is how it's affecting me now. And you hear something like, it's because you're not spiritual, because you don't pray enough. It's because you people, your generation, you're emotionally weak. Um, Yeah. So we tend to shy away from going for therapy because then everybody is going to look at us and think that we don't know how to run our lives, or we don't know how to apply the right principles that would help us get through in life. Somehow we don't seem to feel that way about fixing cars though. We are fine with going to a professional because we don't know how to do it. But when it comes to our mental state of being, we decide that we should know what to do. It's a very interesting and difficult mindset to change, but it's one that is so deeply ingrained in our culture, and it causes a lot of problems for people because we are so conscious of what people are going to say, what they're going to think about us. And truthfully, I will acknowledge the fact that people can be very horrible. And so sometimes there will be a level of people talking about you, but is your well being worth sacrificing for the positive opinions of other people who, by the way, are struggling with things that they don't tell you about either? And I promise you, some of them will be inspired by your boldness. Even if they are afraid, they will be inspired by your boldness. And so we have to break away from the mindset that makes us do things based off of how we think people are going to perceive us. Um, I'm not saying that you should be reckless in the way you live your life, but the truth of the matter is that if you make your decisions based off of your belief of what people will say, then you're going to live a very limited life. And in fact, that fear in and of itself is something that you can explore in therapy. You can explore your potential for people pleasing behavior. You can explore your unwillingness to go against the grain or go against what everybody else is doing. These are conversations that you can have in therapy. I kid you not. You can have just about any conversation that relates to your life in therapy. So, again, we need to be able to have the proper understanding because knowledge is what breaks some of these stigma. Is that the word? Stigmas? Knowledge is what breaks stigma and stereotypes, right? The concept of stereotypes, again, we have a video about this on Instagram, so you should go look for it. But stereotypes are essentially, they don't have to be positive or negative, they just are what people think about certain situations. You then make it what it is. So a stereotype is just a preconceived idea about a situation, which may be positive or negative, but you have to kind of have the knowledge to then make an informed decision. For example, I could believe that all people from a particular tribe are intelligent. That's a positive stereotype, right? But then it takes me doing actual investigation and research to determine whether that is the truth or it's just a skewed perspective based off of people that I've met. And so, what I'm trying to say in essence is that the best way for you to be able to overcome a lot of things is through therapy. But you wouldn't know this if you choose to be limited by what people say. Number 4, the myth that therapy is only for serious problems. And so people are thinking this is kind of similar to the first one, but you have this idea that, oh, for you to see a psychologist, for you to see a therapist, it means that you've completely lost it. Like, oh, you are probably schizophrenic or bipolar, or someone has to be displaying some tremendously strange behavior before you decide to go for therapy. That's a lie. That is a very, very big lie. You absolutely will not wait until your hair is falling off and your skin is peeling and your mouth is dry and you are absolutely falling apart with your health before you go to a doctor. I know there are people that do not fall under um this description. I know there are people that wait until their devices, their houses, their properties, their bodies are completely in shambles before they make any maintenance attempt. And that's wrong. You don't want to wait until anything is falling apart. I dare say that, again, you need to be in therapy if you're the kind of person who waits until everything is falling apart before you do something about it. You don't want to be wearing a shirt until it's absolutely torn and destroyed before you get another one. Yes, I know there are people that can't afford it, and that's an entirely different conversation. But in and of yourself, if you have the option to change it, why not give it to someone else? Allow them to also enjoy it and give it to someone else. Spread the love. Don't wait until it's completely beat up and washed down before you do something about it. So, you definitely want to be getting therapy before things escalate. Number 5. This one is a big one. Access and cost. So there are two, but we'll take them together because they are similar. The truth of the matter is that a lot of people, by the time they look at the cost of therapy, would rather just rough it, would rather just find a way around it, find a way to struggle it by themselves, or in the case where we are in the times that we are in, use ChatGPT, of which, please let me just say, ChatGPT is not a therapist. Thank you for listening to my song. And so access is also a challenge, especially in Nigeria. I mean, we have a lot of people coming up these days. Some of them are not actually professionally trained. Please ensure that whoever it is you're going to for therapy has appropriate degrees and licensing. Don't just follow somebody that says, "Oh, I'm a counselor." Yeah, I'm triggered a little bit. But please don't allow somebody that is not professionally trained to be the one that you go to, because again, just like if you go to a fake doctor, whatever you get is going to be the result of that person's level of knowledge. And so while we have therapists coming up, it's still not as easily available or accessible as it should be. And that also is affecting the cost. Aside from the availability of practitioners, the economy in Nigeria is rough. And so I know that many people would rather think about what they can do with the money and not go for a therapist and instead use the money to do something else. So you hear things like, I've seen this on Twitter myself. If the therapist said therapy costs this much money, if I had that much money, would I need a therapist? Again, not all your problems in life are related to economy. Yes, the economy can be quite devastating, but if you would take a bit more time to explore yourself, you'll discover that your lack of money or your financial situation does not always have to be the reason why you have issues in life. Some of these issues actually are the reason why you don't have money. Just thought to put that in. And so If you would like to have therapy, but you're thinking that the cost could be a challenge, please note that Nura Services is one of the most affordable. Yes, we are one of the most affordable in Nigeria. And you can decide to save up for it like you would save up to buy yourself a new phone or do anything else that you think is important. Make that investment in your life. You can do it. I promise you can do it. If you prioritize it and say, okay, I'm going to put down this amount of money every month so that by the end of 3 months, I'm going to have enough money to see a therapist, please do it for yourself, because by the time you go through the process and you discover the transformation that you experience in your life, I can guarantee you that it will be worth it. And you might not need as many sessions if you go now than if you wait until later, because you will be able to better navigate situations as they come, as opposed to making a complete mess of it and then now having to do premium damage control that could have been avoided if you had just seen the therapist earlier. As we bring this episode to a close, I think it's safe to say that whatever issues that you are dealing with, I'm sorry to be that person, but life doesn't necessarily get easier or simpler. As you grow up, as you mature, you begin to face new challenges, you begin to deal with more difficulties. And the only way that you can successfully navigate whatever challenges you face is if you have the right skills and the right information and knowledge at the right time. So you want to ensure that you are getting therapy as quickly as possible so that you will be able to be the best version of yourself to deal with all that you have in front of you. You don't want to wait up until the point where you're falling apart, you are emotionally eruptive, chaotic before you decide to go and see a therapist. Because once you build certain skills in the place of therapy, you become a better person for yourself and for the people around you, and you are obviously able to do so much more for yourself and for people. And so, this is me just encouraging you today. Don't wait until you're at the breaking point. Don't wait until you feel like you can't take it anymore. It's the simple things. It might be stress at work. It might be difficulty in managing your relationship with your family or with your friends. It might be a challenge with your ability to regulate your emotions. It might be your inability to even make decisions. You find it difficult to choose when faced with options. It's the simple things. It's better to do one therapy session now than have to do 20 later on in life. So, this is me encouraging you. Sign up for therapy, plan to sign up for therapy, take it seriously, prioritize it, prioritize your mental health and well being, and see all that it does for you and for the people around you. Thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget that we absolutely want to hear from you. Tell us about your experience with therapy if you've taken or had any therapy sessions before. Tell us why you don't want to do therapy. Tell us what's holding you back right now, and let's see how we can work with you. If this episode resonated with you, please, absolutely, we want you to share, we want you to like, we want you to comment. Please leave us an anonymous comment via the link in the show notes of today's episode, and we will be sure to read it in or discuss it, as the case may be, in our next episode. Thank you so much for sticking around with us. Until the next one, remember to prioritize your mental health.